This is the Traveling Knitter channel. My name is Steph, and this episode video is going to be my suggestions for some purse charms. Handmade purse charms, for the most part crocheted. The labubu craze is a thing. Not for me, but I can appreciate a good purse charm. And what I have in front of me that you can't see, that almost fell on me, is a stack of books. Oh my gosh, now the video is moving because of that. Is a stack of books where I have gone through and picked some of the patterns that I thought would make for really nice purse charms. And what I'm thinking about doing is actually making some of these purse charms. And you can see Edifix right there. I have two cats, one who is 100% not gonna be on camera. She's on the top of her cat tree staring at me really aggressively. I'm gonna show her. Hey girl, you okay up there? She's not so into much of anything, but Edifix is, so he will most likely make an appearance. Anyway, I have a stack of books here with some patterns already picked out that I wanted to share with you in case you were wanting to decorate your purse but don't have the funds for a labubu, can't find a labubu, or they're just not to your taste. So let's dive in. First book I have is The Big Book of Knitted Monsters by Rebecca Danger. And I will say most of these books are fairly, stop it Edifix, are fairly old. So you will probably be able to find these for a good price on like half price books, thriftbooks.com. Edifix, stop. A lot of knitting books have ribbons and he has discovered that and is trying to eat one of them. We're just gonna have to put the ribbon in the book. Anyway, so this I believe is her first book. She does have patterns that she sells individually on Ravelry. I'll do some research and I will, if I can find any of these books, I'll put them in the description below. They're not gonna be sponsored or anything. They'll just be me trying to find copies of these books. And if there are individuals of these patterns, I think I will just put a note on the screen if there are individual versions of them. So I picked out the cat monster, the kitchen monster. She's adorable. And like her little mouth with the felt, obviously you could do that on any of the monsters, but I thought she was so cute. Plus she gets, you know, she's stylized with a ribbon. This takes between 130 to 185 yards of yarn, and they are using worsted for both of them. So I wouldn't use worsted. You're gonna get either a 13-inch doll or a 17-inch doll. I think that's too big for a purse charm. 13 inches is pushing it. So what you could do is drop down, and I think with a lot of these is what you could do that with. Just don't use worsted weight, right? Use a sport weight would be, I think, great. You'd get a good size. Still, it wouldn't be too fiddly. She doesn't look, she's not very complex. So you're knitting the whole body and the legs, and then you're knitting the two arms and the two ears separately. And then you would just need to get some safety eyes and felt. And if you wanted to attach a ribbon, of course you would need a ribbon. And then there's a bit of thread here. If you didn't want to do the safety eyes, you could even do, you know, an X for her eyes as well. But I think the safety eyes add to it. Very, very cute. And also, could you, like with cat, I could imagine, I love the ribbon detail. you could attach this ribbon here, and then I've seen ribbon on the handle of the purse. You could match it, right? How cute would that be? Next up, there are quite a lot of examples in here. And obviously with these books, all of them would probably look good, but I just picked out some of my favorites. This is the Creepy Cute crochet book by Kristen Hayden. I've had this book for a very, very long time. This is, I think, the second crochet book I ever purchased. So I would have been in high school still, I think. I picked out a couple in here. One of them is the Skeleton Bride and Groom. I just thought it would be so cute to have both of these on one of your purses, like, right? So cute. And I feel like the veil and the top hat just adds to it. And this, you wouldn't have to adjust anything with what you're making. So they're using worsted weight, a size E hook. I mean, you would need polyfill or some sort of stuffing for all of these. They've got white tulle, safety eyes, and then for the groom, it's all the same thing except you need obviously like a black. You don't need the tulle. So what is interesting or unique about the way that this book works, more so, yeah, I think this might be one of the only ones, is that there are charts. So while it says beginner, if you are brand new to crochet, I'll be honest, this was overwhelming to me because of the charts. Now, there are written instructions, and the written instructions are completely fine. I think, I'm just not sure. I would have to revisit these, and I think I want to. I would like to make some of these as my purse charms. But the chart, I almost find more confusing because with crochet, I kind of just count for whatever, especially when I'm doing rounds. These all have like the number you're supposed to have at the end of every row or round. And I just use that, and I just count like 1, 2, 3. If I need 30, I just count to 30. If I'm increasing to 30 and I'm doing it evenly, then I'm counting in those increments to reach 30. Does that make sense? Like if I'm gonna do like crochet 4 single and then do a double to increase, or 2 singles in 1 stitch, so then my grand number is probably like, let's say 36, because it's going to be divisible by 6. Does that make sense? Maybe, maybe not. In my head it does. Anyway, I feel like a bride and groom skeleton would be so cute on a purse. Then I'm a corporate girly, and so I just think this is hilarious to have on like my purse that I bring into work, maybe my briefcase. I work in corporate America, and I like to have my personality show. It's just who I am. I'm even when I graduated college and I was going into interviews, and you had your like, is this still a thing? You had like your paper, your printed out resume inside of your portfolio that was like a leather folder thing. I had a purple one. I didn't want a black one. I wanted something fun. And I just feel like this would be so cute on like my corporate purse. Now, I don't really carry a purse anymore these days. I tend to have a backpack, but you could still attach this to your backpack. And you could change this corporate zombie up, right? Like the hair, that's totally however you want to do. Like I could make, I mean, it does kind of look like my hair. It's just not as crazy. But you know, you could have shorter hair, you could have longer hair, you could go like a mohawk. I think as long as you get the tie in the black and white, I think they'll understand that you're going for a corporate zombie. But so cute. So Yeah, again, oh, it's got you doing something really tiny. It's saying US size E and then a US 1. What is it wanting you to do the 1 on? Let's just check, shall we? Because that seems crazy. Okay, there's like literally just 2 pages, and it's because there's a separate page for the main body. Almost all of these use the same body size. Oh, okay. So you're just using it for 1 row. Okay. I think it's to make basically like a belt, to make it feel like it's a belt. And then the last thing is the first thing I picked out in here, and I just think it's adorable. It would be so cute, again, together on a bag. But it's these Day of the Dead gal and fellow. Look at his little mustache. So cute, right? Fantastic. I think it'd be just so adorable. And all of these don't have a like inherent way to connect them or attach them to your purse. What I would end up doing is just chaining, making a chain, looping it, and just tying it, like threading it through and tying it or to some effect. Or you could thread a ribbon through. You could get like an actual metal chain and open up one of the links, insert it into a crochet stitch, close it up. So there are a plethora of ways that you could do that. Okay, not so much an animal or a creature, but plants. So I have this KnitMonster's Cactus Garden Edition by Michael Chow, C-A-O, also known as the KnitMonster. You can, so these I think are technically free on Ravelry, but this was like a print on demand from Amazon, and I just was looking for something to crochet for my coworker. I haven't done it yet, but I like them. I thought they were cute, and it wasn't that expensive at all, so I wanted to support KnitMonster, and so I bought it. And I was thinking that this trio of cactus or cacti would be so cute as a purse charm. And so you're crocheting the pot that they're in, little soil, and then the cactus. So cute. And I think for these, I would put the charm, so like if this was the back, I think I would put the connector here rather than at the top. Okay, I have a selection of books that started my crochet journey, lifestyle. Reason why I wanted to learn to crochet is Anna Paula Romoli, and I think I have all of her books, so I grabbed 3 of them. This is the one that is so beat up. I still have it. I've mentioned that I should buy like another copy of it. It still works, but it is so beat up. Anyway, I have made every single thing in this book except for these lions. And so I was thinking the lion would be such an adorable charm, and I would go for the mini because the mini would end up being about 4 inches rather than the dad, who would be 7.5 inches. But you know, if you wanted a big charm, you could still go for the big lion. You would need felt, a tiny bit of thread, and some safety eyes, and then just 2 colors. So right, like a yellow and an orange, but you could make your lion be whatever color you wanted. And I think this is unique and honestly would be a lot easier and faster to do than like a fluffy mane, right? To crochet this on. I think this would end up being a lot faster to do and probably less likely to get dirty. Out of the Amigurumi Toy Box, I selected a a whole set. It is the Sea Friends, jellyfish, cuttlefish, dolphin, and little narwhal. Again, what if you made all of them, right? And like all in coordinating colors. So like these, and then I would love to do something where this matched, like you could do like a gray as part of the, are these called fronds or is that just on coral? The frills, the tentacle portion of the jellyfish. And you could do gray and then all of them would match, right? How cute would that be? Oh, it'd be so adorable. I think the cuttlefish might be my favorite. I made an airplane. Yeah, there's an airplane in this one and it ended up looking like the dolphin, I'll be honest. It looked like the dolphin. The airplane's actually still, I made it for the airport at in my hometown. My mom used to work at the airport as the everything. Yeah. Everything apart from like flying and fixing planes. But they had a case where they put things in and I crocheted an airplane to go in there. Amigurumi Too. This is the last book from Anna Paula Romoli. I just thought the squirrels would be so cute. And you could make a mushroom and you could attach the mushroom to the squirrel, or you could leave the mushroom separately and then they would just have two. Or you could like have Velcro and Velcro them together. So cute. With all of hers, you're gonna need felt, a little bit of thread, safety eyes, and then in this instance, 2 colors. But if you're doing that mushroom, you'll need another color and a different color of felt. And the little squirrel would be 4.5 inches and the mom squirrel would be 5.5. So you could make either of them. Okay, we're gonna go with these. So I have another crochet book, Dumpling Cats by Sarah Sloyer. Okay, I had a hard time picking a cat in here, but I ended up with Meatball. A meatball because it's kind of like a Siamese cat and I have a Siamese cat. I have like 1.5 Siamese cats. When they were kittens, both of them, Astrid's always looked like a Siamese cat. Edifix he's like a Siamese lynx, which is just a fancy name for a Siamese half tabby, and he is turning more and more tabby-like. But he still is very talkative like a Siamese cat. But anyway, and now I just have this affinity for Siamese cats because that's what I have. And I just, she's so chubby and tubby. And my Astrid's also tubby. So, so cute. But it's got a flat bottom so it can like sit on things. I would put the chain or whatever I'm attaching right in the middle so that it could lay flat like that. So cute. This one says that it would be 2.5 inches tall. It does not say how long it would be, but I'm guessing maybe 3.5. It looks to be longer than it is tall. The things that you would need are, again, safety eyes, thread, and they do have some cardboard in the bottom for the base of the cat so that it stays flat. And it is using worsted weight. Now, with how small this is, I don't think you would need to drop down to a different yarn weight because of how small it is. Next up, I've never made anything out of it, but it is so adorable. This is the Mini Kingdom by Olga Nowiecka. Right? How cute. And they're tiny. They're so small and so detailed. I picked out for Halloween the witch. And there aren't any pages without instructions. So I'm just gonna show you the recap page that shows all of them, but here's the witch. But obviously any of them would work. They are so detailed. Look at that little witch. So adorable. And obviously you could change the color scheme. And I think these ones have much smaller safety eyes. So you'll have to be mindful of that. Each of these patterns has different size safety eyes. When I was making some of these and I just could not find safety eyes, my options were Michael's and Hobby Lobby and Walmart. And in the early 2010s, late 2000s, there really weren't a lot of like size options for the safety eyes. So what I would actually do is I bought black clay and I would make balls, and then I would cut them in half, and then I would bake them, and then I would have safety eyes, whatever size I needed. They weren't perfect, and I should say they weren't safety eyes, they were just eyes, and then I would glue the clay onto the fabric, and it was fine. Like, I wasn't giving it to children that could swallow things. So just as a recommendation, if you're not finding the safety eyes size that you're looking for, you could buy clay and make eyes yourself. Okay, second to last option. We have the flower Gnomigurumi. So cute. So these are gnomes that are based off of the flower of the month. And the one that I picked is actually this one in the front. It's got this butterfly. The color scheme is really what sold it to me. And this is by Madeleine Soledad Iglesias Silva. That is quite a long name. Can't imagine filling out your little bubble card in elementary school with a name that long. There's not enough space. Okay, so here's the marigold gnome. Right? So cute. I feel like the gnomes would just make perfect purse charms. So fitting. This guy is gonna use sport weight yarn, and it doesn't really say how big it is, but you've got a hand there for reference. It looks like about the size of your hand, which I think is the size of what labubus are. So perfect replacement. There are quite a lot of colors, but you don't use, a lot of them you don't use a lot. It's saying a 2mm crochet hook or a 2.25, fiber fill or polyfill, safety eyes, yeah, all the normal stuff. And the instructions are pretty detailed, and I think probably the most time-consuming thing is going to be the marigold. So the big flower on the top there, just opening this up, you've got instructions for how to make a magic loop, and then you have 2 entire pages, which you can kind of see, right? All of that is just how to make the marigold. And let's see. It doesn't look difficult. It just looks a little bit fiddly. Yeah. And then you've got the base, the body, and then the butterfly is a pretty cute technique that they've got to make it. So cute. And then the last recommendation that I have is from Crochet Little Heroes. These are very adorable dolls, but the dolls are a bit on the larger side. I don't think they have dimensions here, but like, for example, the safety eyes that they're asking for are 8mm, and I'm not sure what So they give you the yarn recommendations, which is Shepshi's Katona, which is cotton yarn. And honestly, I used, for the Anna Paula Ramolis, when I've made those, I used sugar and cream cotton for almost every single amigurumi. I don't know why, but I gravitated towards using cotton for my amigurumis, and I've kind of just always stuck to that. So I'm trying to see if there's a picture with a hand so that you can get a good grasp on the size of these guys. But I'm gonna say no, there isn't. And then even the yarn, it's not giving you a weight. It's just saying use cotton yarn. Use cotton yarn. I'm trying to, okay, so there is a picture with with scissors. I think they're gonna be like 10 to 12 inches tall, so a bit taller, but I picked out Rita Moreno, and she's a Puerto Rican actress, dancer, singer, and she's one of the few artists who has won all 4 major American entertainment awards. That's Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and a Tony. And she's the first Latin actress to win an Oscar for her performance in West Side Story. And she returned to the stage age 80 for her biographical one-woman show, which became a Broadway sensation. And, right? So I picked her because of the applied crochet on her dress. So beautiful. Now, my thought with these, any of these, or any of the ones that are too big, is you can go, again, you can go down. I have actually crocheted some of these with embroidery thread. If you are a beginner to crochet, I would not recommend this. But if you've crocheted before and you're pretty confident, or if you're confident enough to try it. You can make these out of embroidery thread, and then they're like that big. They'll be cute and tiny. So if you were to do that, I would go for something that doesn't have a ton of detail. So I'm trying to find an example of one that I wouldn't do in this one. Probably. Is she the most complicated? Okay. Coco Chanel might be. Like, that hat is gonna be so small. The stripes, any color change like this is gonna be a pain in the butt when you're using floss, because changing color is just a pain. Because having the loose threads is almost the same amount as the actual crocheted fabric. So I think she would end up being much more manageable to do with DMC embroidered floss. She's got interesting bangs. Can you see that? Let me see. Let me take a look at her bangs. Or they're just chains, is what it looks like. So cute. And this is by Orsi Farkasvolji. Now, only one of those books was knitting. There are quite a lot of knitting patterns as well, but when I was starting out, crochet just was the big thing for toys. There weren't a ton of knitted toys available, so I don't really own a lot of those books. So hopefully that was okay. I hope this video inspired you to potentially make a purse charm or look through the patterns that you have that you could turn into a type of purse charm. Again, if it's too big, just drop down a needle size, drop down to a smaller yarn weight. You could go as small as DMC thread. I've done as small as DMC thread. They end up like this big and they're so adorable. The stuffing's a bit of a pain, but otherwise it's completely doable. Let me know if you have ideas, put them in the comment below, and let's make purse charms together this summer. Thank you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!